First game is actually the Seahawks-Niners. The Niners are a 9.5-point favorite. They played twice this season. San Francisco won the games, both games. One was a little bit close, one was not. This is a rematch of the 2014 NFC title game. There's a ton of history between Pete Carroll and Kyle Shanahan. Does Seattle have any shot, Mike?
It's kind of the reflex is to say no. The line is almost 10, and it's going to be kind of a challenge, I think, to get yourself into a Seattle kind of headspace here for this game on the road. I mean, happy to be there. San Francisco can just maul you, and that defense, the Seahawks, isn't the one you'd pick to take on that challenge and expect them to do well. But with as good as the 49ers look, I feel like the line kind of tells you they're sort of daring you to pick Seattle. Like it's just going to be so easy to want to give 9.5 with San Francisco, I think. And that sort of slows me down. But the Niners clearly deserve to be a good favorite.
Do you have any fantasy guys you're looking at from either side here, Mike?
I feel like, so the FFPC playoff challenge is one where I put a lot of energy into. If I may, the DraftSharks guys and I are doing a roundtable show tomorrow morning on that tournament. And I don't know numbers, but George Kittle feels like he's going to be the player on on more rosters than anyone else. What did he have, 2 more yesterday? And with Purdy, Kittle will be very popular. And if that's right, like why, if it isn't true, it's because of the good other options you have on San Francisco. But if people want to just sort of lean on George Kittle here, tight end premium, McCaffrey and Debo and Ayuk are interesting pivots. So, if it's one guy, like I think Kittle is probably the play, but you have a lot of different interesting ways you can go, maybe even the quarterback.
Yes. It's definitely, you want some of that San Francisco exposure, but how much will Kittle be rostered is a great question. And I'm sure Adam Krautwurst will have some good ideas about that tomorrow. Dan, what's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, and to Mike's point, before I get into that, to a certain extent, it really doesn't, if Kittle is actually the dominant play, then it's really not going to matter how much he's rostered, because he's going to be one of those guys you basically have to win the title. But as we said, there are some interesting pivots here, and I don't think it's any sort of certainty that Kittle's going to be the dominant play. So there's a lot of different ways you can go with this offense. I think it's probably going to be a little bit of a closer game than most think. I got it 24-16 Niners. I think that Seattle is, they're good enough to hang around. They know the Niners well. It's pretty rare that it's going to be a blowout between division rivals like this. So, and it's also tough for a team to win against another team 3 times during the same season. But I do think the Niners can get it done. And I'm looking at for Seattle, Tyler Lockett would be my play, most likely out of everybody.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be a pass catcher if you're going to go with the Seattle player, just because I think San Francisco will do a good job against Ken Walker. Christian McCaffrey for me. I know there'll be a lot of love for George Kittle, but I could see McCaffrey just having a fantastic playoffs. This is, why he's in San Francisco. I think they're going to lean on him. I do think it's going to be a game where San Francisco covers the number. Seattle has not looked great lately, and I think San Francisco is trending up. And I think they send a statement week 1. So I think that for me, I would definitely eat the chalk if I wager on this game.
Remember the second meeting was a night game in Seattle, and the Niners kind of it stayed close. They had a pick 6 that didn't count because of a terrible call on a roughing the passer or something in that game. So that they were much the better team there. And the first game was really early, but they controlled that game too.
Yeah,